Welcome to the Mark and Cindy Show replay, or archive it's sometimes called, here on Lone Star Internet Radio. If you don't get a good laugh out of this particular episode, well, you've probably chosen another.
You know, Mark, I was thinking since we air 4 live shows a week, we may have some serious storage issues in our archived episodes. We might have to borrow some computer data storage space that the National Security Agency has, or better known as the NSA.
Good grief. Yeah, they're downloading the show anyway, just to see if we're doing anything clandestine.
What?
Clandestine. It's a new shade of paint at Irwin-Williams. You can't even see it.
Irwin-Williams the spy?
Cindy, what say we let them listen to the show they picked?
Well, yeah, if they want to get in trouble with the NSA.
Oh, boy. Go ahead, play.
It's Mark and Cindy on the radio, 10 to 11 a.m. Well, it's Mark and Cindy, they've got a morning show.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to the Mark and Cindy Show, as stated by the song that Jared Starrett wrote for us.
Can't get enough of that song,
I know
Cindy.
it. I'm hoping for the exextended version soon.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're a little late today because we've been putting up the camera. Wave, Cindy.
Oh.
Wave. We have. I said we have been. Dick's been putting
That's
up
right.
the camera and all, and it's taken. We're getting there by
That's
all
right.
means.
I'll apologize to all the listeners.
Yeah, Dick,
Thank you.
please.
Thank you. He took responsibility
He
for
did.
that. Boy, that's great. That's good.
I thought sure Mark is responsible for this. It's going to come out of his mouth, but it didn't.
Well, usually it's always the woman that gets blamed for everything. So I'm so proud of y'all. It's
I learned
true.
that. I learned that I was younger. Okay, that's my defense.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
I know you are. I won't tell on you. Anyway, yesterday we had talked about we were going to be on YouTube.
Here on the Mark and Cindy Show
we
on
are.
1011 Live, and this is
That's
what
right.
is it? Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
And I know that because Justified's on tonight. Justified, you got to watch it. Cindy, every time I turn my head, I hit this.
he keeps looking at the camera, and he's not.
I'm sorry. Yes.
And you got one.
I knew this was gonna.
This was
We're
gonna
not
get-
on TV,
or my
folks.
pants
This
zip.
is just
I
to let
cannot.
people have an idea of how silly you guys
That's
are.
right. That's right.
Yeah,
We're still doing the radio show.
Okay,
I'm
still
wearing my
radio.
glasses to look a little more dignified, and
And it's
right.
working.
Yes, and
Okay, yesterday
we talked about being on YouTube, and that you can go there, and then tonight or tomorrow you'll get to see this show in video. You'll get to see how we do the show, right? Isn't that right, Richard? And that's the point, right?
It's just going
Yeah, I
to
think.
spectacular.
It's a little combination of things.
Yeah.
A slow transition into video on Lone Star, and
Right.
also let us have a bona fide YouTube channel instead of just stills.
Exactly.
It gives a person more of a something more content to consume.
More
then it's
content to
PBS, and
consume.
then it's
yeah,
the
and then it
comedy
goes
show.
on, and
Cindy,
I don't know.
We
I
had
hear NBC
yesterday,
calling.
you built us up to a point that I was very curious about. You explained it. You're going to explain it again. We've got several things to talk about. But first, why don't you regurgitate
Well,
the part you were going to say?
I just want to say, since when you get on YouTube and you type in the Mark and Cindy Show, when that comes up on YouTube, you will notice there's another Mark and Cindy team, and it's a mixed wrestling. I kept saying mud wrestling yesterday.
That's what I thought.
And that's what you were looking for all last night,
I was
right? But
interested in mud wrestling, but I am more interested in
mixed wrestling.
mixed wrestling. It's genius.
We are
A
not
guy
recommending.
wrestling a woman. I
We
don't
are
get
not
it.
recommending, and especially the picture they have up there. It's disturbing. No, but we're not recommending that you go to those videos. We're trying to put enough videos of Mark and Cindy's show on there to push them further down the line. So when it first comes up on the screen, you don't
Of course,
see
I'm
that.
bookmarking them both, but I am not watching that other
Hey, yesterday we talked about the mystery.
Lone Survivor.
The mystery of Lone Survivor, and I want to talk about that today. What do you want to talk about?
Oh, Cindy, I've got my list here. There's news all over the place that's so... I can't get over this. This is scary. Pertinent to all. There's good news. There's bad news. Good Time Charlie has got the blues. I'm going to talk later, close to the end, we'll talk about Peggy Miller's going to be on here Wednesday. And really, you shouldn't start a show talking about who's going to be here later, because this show's going to be just
amazing.
awe-inspired. Anyway,
That's right.
and I've got the new TV shows coming out. I know you don't watch
I never watch
much.
anything.
I know, Cindy. You're
except
really...
rerun
I know,
stuff.
Fox News.
Sorry.
Then we've got I've got a guy who was killed in the theater, a story about a guy that was killed in movie theater for texting. You probably read that.
Yes, I did.
Specialty store closes in the Woodlands. I hate that. So many things here, and of course the encouraging word is coming. Anyway, a lot of stuff here. And what have you got?
Well, I went to the Grand Theater.
Grand Theater, right?
Yes, yesterday, right, just like I said I would, and it wasn't open yet. They don't open now until like 1:30 or something. So
Yeah, they do. I hate that.
I finally got one of the guys that were getting the tickets ready and all, and I said, he says, we're not open, and I said, I know, I just want to ask you one question, just one thing, and he finally goes, okay, yes, ma'am. And I said, could you tell me if it's a truism or if it was fiction that you guys closed all the films down and only showed The Lone Survivor? And he looking all around. It's very sketchy. I don't know what he thought I was after. And I said, he said, well, that was, I don't know if I can talk about that. And I went, what? And he said, let me give you a number to call, and you can call and talk to our corporate office. And I went, I just want to know if did you ever do that? Yeah, did you take the films down? Because what was on Facebook was that all the films were shut off until you played Lone Survivor on every single one of your theaters. And he said, here's the number you call. And screens, sorry. And so anyway, he kept him-hawing about it, and I said, please, I just want to know, because it says that Mark Wahlberg had sent a thank you to all the fans here in Conroe, and I was just trying to find out if this is true or not. And he kept doing the same thing. And I said, look, are you playing the show here? You're still playing it, right? And he goes, well, yes, of course we are. And I said, well, I was just wondering because the way you're acting. And he goes, look, we took down a few of the films and some of the screens, and we played more, and we played more of the Lone Survivor. And I went, that's all I wanted to know. Really? And because I've got a picture here of someone that took of the box office that shows what you guys had taken down to show Lone Survivor. And he goes, okay. And then he shut the little.
What's the big deal here?
That is the question.
Because I told you about how movie theaters operate.
Well, the Tinseltown guy we're trying to get on here is like a enigma or something. We can't tell you about the popcorn or whatever.
Well, we have to send him all the questions we want to ask, and
like
then he'll get it approved.
Scenario?
I think.
What's in the popcorn?
The hot dog wieners are. I don't want to talk about it. It's scary.
But anyway, so it was true that I did find out that it was all true, that Mark Wahlberg did send that, and that's what was on Facebook.
I get the impression it wasn't true. He said, yes, we did open up a couple more channels. But what I saw was the billboard was Lone Survivor, and they cut all of this. And this guy is saying
seven of the films that they were playing, they took down that day because of demand that they put Lone Survivor on.
Did he say that?
Yes, he said they did. They did take down some films, and he didn't say 7.
They would do that for any movie that was popular.
Well, but no, they've never seen 7 taken down before. Never have it seen 7.
And he didn't say 7. That's what I want to know.
But if you look on the list,
I know.
Count the list and how many films went down that day. And so anyway, that was so much fun to find that out.
If he did that, you would think he would be so proud. We did this, but no, you're gonna have to call the front office.
Right. So let me talk to a manager, and he says he'll give you the same answer, madam, and we can't talk about it. And they're so afraid they're going to say something that may go against So
it's a job. Apparently, the guy over him has got a hammer or something with the lady.
CYA is big at that place.
Well, I mean, people are scared of social media.
Right.
Really?
Right.
Yeah, I mean the only reason you were there is because of social media.
Right. That's right.
So yeah, I mean, if you're some person who has a building and they trying to maintain an inflow of people, I bet it blew up. People were like, let's go see Lone Survivor just because they have it on another screen.
You're right.
Cindy, if you had just lied and said, I'm with the Courier, the Villager, whatever, the Chronicle, and I'd like to know, did this happen? Because you bring your camera with you. Wow.
Well, I was about to throw down the Mark and Cindy show, but because of the way they were acting, I was afraid it might get us in trouble.
Mixed wrestling? I love that show. Sheesh, yeah, they know about that thing.
That Mark Hader, you can sure do a chokehold like no one else.
She grabbed him so hard.
I'm telling you. But, I saw an interview I mean, that afternoon, yesterday afternoon, I saw an interview with one of the moms of one of the SEALs that were in the movie. Mm-hmm. And she was talking about how Marcus Luttrell had flown into where she lived and visited the family to talk to them about what he was going to write in the book, what happened, and gave them all the information that they would help someone who's lost a son like that. Then when this decided to become a movie, they asked her, how were you feeling about going to a movie and seeing this? And she says, well, I just kept telling myself, it's just a movie. Then the director called me, and the director wanted to let me know that this was going to be very graphic. And she says, well, don't tell me that. I'm saying it's just a movie. She says, well, you need to understand that. I'm going to have you come down. And she went down and watched a rough cut, so to get herself ready and set for what was going to happen. They did a lot to try and get the families to understand. They wanted to put the story out, but they did not want to disturb them as much. So, but we're going to be coming right back after these messages.
And Cindy, when we come back, we're going to touch on this. I just came up with the theme I went into last time was if you could send yourself a message from back when you were a kid, what would you say? I'd like to go with that a little bit and talk about it. Hopefully people will call in at 936-647-3776.
On the Mark and Cindy Show.
On the Mark and Cindy Show. No
we
mixed
will
wrestling
be right
here.
back.
No.
Don't go away.
Tri-County Services provides services to children and adults with mental illnesses, substance abuse disorders, and intellectual developmental disabilities in Montgomery, Liberty, and Walker counties. Offices are located in Conroe, Cleveland, Liberty, and Huntsville. Some mental health services offer focus on resilience and recovery. Services and supports for individuals with intellectual development disabilities focus on skill development and independence. Tri-County Services offers 24/7 crisis intervention and evaluation with crisis hotline 1-800-659-6994. And their mobile crisis outreach team. Psychiatric crisis treatment is available at Psychiatric Emergency Treatment Center in Conroe. Substance abuse services include treatment for both youth and adults. Substance abuse prevention classes are also provided for younger children and teenagers. Peer support services for veterans are also offered by Tri-County Services. For more information about all programs provided by Tri-County Services, call 936-521-6100 or visit our website at www.tricountyservices.org.
Howdy, folks. Cable Smith, host of the Lone Star Outdoors Show, inviting you to join me Saturday mornings from 7 to 8 on Lone Star Internet Radio for Texas' premier hunting, fishing, and outdoor talk show. So pour yourself another cup of coffee and pull up that stool a little closer to the old campfire, because if you can catch it or kill it in Texas, we're going to talk about it. That's right. Bucks and ducks, gobblers, monster bass, redfish, trout, and a whole lot more. Plus, you never know what outdoor celebrity is going to drop by, from Phil the Duck Commander Robertson to fishing legend Bill Dance or everybody's favorite uncle Ted Nugent. Heck, we might even mix in an interview and hear some brand spanking new Texas music from one of your favorite Texas musicians like Robert Earl Keen, Brandon Ryder, or the honky-tonk kid himself, Aaron Watson. Loved or hated but never ignored, it's the Lone Star Outdoors Show with me, Cable Smith, Saturday mornings from 7 to 8 right here on Lone Star Internet Radio on irlonestar.com.
Standing in the garden, wet with rain.
Mark
Van Morrison
and Cindy
is the best.
Show.
I'm sorry.
The
No,
Mark and
we're the
Cindy
best.
Show.
Is that right?
Yes, I thought that was
Mark
about
and Cindy
me.
Show, and it's still, right now, it's still Tuesday. I don't know how
It
it
is still
works.
Tuesday. It's 10:20. No, 10:19. Sorry, 10:19 on January the 14th. Correct? It is the 14th,
Yes, it is.
right?
I would know that anywhere.
I can lose a day faster than anything. So, but we are broadcasting live from downtown Conroe, Texas. So if you're ever in this area, if you're not in the area right now, come by and wave. We got a big plate glass windows, like the old timing things that they used to do, where they put radio stations out, where people could come by and see what's going on.
But Cindy, we're getting a lot of nose smudges on the window. So when you come, please, and fingerprints, please.
That
I've
is
been
true.
out there cleaning that window till I'm sick of it.
That's true. That is true. So try to keep at least a foot away from the window as you stare at us. But anyway, you were talking about the going back in time,
Right. The tease was that.
Yeah, going back in time, and what would you had advised yourself?
Yeah. You know, I wanted to make mention of this, and it's deep. You know, your whole life is better left. That's what's his name's? Brooks. Anyway,
See?
your life is made up of so many little things that happen. Like my lot in life, I started, I got a degree in forestry that I didn't want, but how I got it, one person did something and it set me on this road, and I was thinking of this and it set me on this, somebody else. In other words, if you went back in time and said something, advice, it could put you right now in Peoria, Illinois, New York, and it could change everything. And it would, things that happened to me, if I would have majored in acting, and I'd have got a degree in there, and I wouldn't have ended up in Conroe. I probably wouldn't have married Kay, my darling wife. I'd have missed out big time there. So little things. But one thing I don't think would have messed anything up, but I wish I could go back and tell myself, Mark, get to know Dad better. I mean, Dad was 7 kids, and he was, he was moody, he was depressed and all. But if I had just, I don't know, hugged him or something, I don't know what he would have done, but I should have tried it, things like that. I've mentioned the movie The Great Santini. Robert Duvall is this ace pilot, and he's raising his kids up to be, military. And his daughter just wants time with their dad, and he shoves off. And there's one scene where, just to get his attention, she says, "Oh, Father, Father," and she hugs him, and she falls down and grabs his legs, and "I am pregnant, I do not know the father," and all, and he's dragging her and said, "Get this girl." That is funny. And what would have happened had I done something with my dad? That, and just remember what's going on, and
Pay
the
attention.
bad times and the good. And that
But
way,
like whenever we get older, though, do you look back and do you remember the good times? Do you have enough good times that you remember, or do you dwell on the bad times?
I personally, I hate it when people say that. I personally, okay, you mean you?
You as
generally?
opposed to me? Okay.
Yeah. The good stuff is coming out. The good old days were not that good. I should remember that. But when I was a kid, it's like, oh, wow, everything was great. It wasn't great. But how about you?
No, I only remember a great childhood. I loved my childhood, everything about it. It was so much fun. But as you get older, you look back. Sometimes I didn't know we were poor. I thought we had everything that we need. And we had food, and we had a car, and we had a place to stay. And it was very rich in comparison to everything else. But I didn't know that the way society looked at where we lived and how much money or whatever, is that we weren't part of that set. Now, I remember going to school, because I went to a private school, and it was because like my mom would work there and help to pay our tuition. My
Did
grandmother
you wear a beret?
helped us. No. It was just a Houston Christian school.
Oh, okay.
It was on Broadway. It was a log cabin building. It was a former
Broadway in
old
Houston.
folks. Yeah, in Houston on Broadway, and it was formerly an old folks home, a retirement home, old folks home, and they made a school out of it, and we went to school there, and that's all I knew as far as school was that section of town, and I didn't know that everybody else where I lived was poor as well, because the kids I went to school with were all wealthy. They lived in McGregor. They lived in all those homes off of River Oaks. So it was difficult to relate to them when I went to their houses and all. But I was so proud for them. I never was envious. I was never jealous or anything like that. I loved going to their house, and I loved seeing that side of it. But where I was brought up, I was not. We weren't middle class.
Did you get an allowance?
No.
Wow.
I didn't. We just had fun. We just played so hard, and that's what we did. And my mom was great. She took all the kids to go do things that were cheap, but we were going all the time.
Did you play with the kids in your neighborhood though? You say the kids at school you knew, but you didn't.
Yeah, it was weird. Of course, we all played. We were just like a big family, but I felt on that block that's what we did. But we didn't. I didn't have a big world view of everything, but I did have these rich kids that were, to me, rich kids that we would go over to the house, and that was just, it was like another world. It was like going to Disneyland or something.
Yeah.
It was fun. But
Kids had their own bedroom, some of them.
Yeah, they did. They had their own bedroom, and
believe
we
it.
didn't. And so it was,
Yeah.
but that was okay. I never felt deprived at all or
They
anything like
didn't
that.
sleep with their brothers. I don't.
Ah, that's so weird.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know you did that till you were 18, and I am so sorry about that.
Not taking a bath together at 8
That- yeah,
stopped,
that
So,
was-
but anyway, I loved growing up, and I had nothing. Something sent back to me is like when we started going to school and getting junior high, high school. That's the kind of stuff I felt like, yikes! Somebody slap me in the face and tell me. But Mark, we both had people telling us as we went along, "Don't do this. Do this. You're enjoy your youth. Enjoy every
You're
second
right.
of it."
Like I'm going to say.
Nobody listens
okay,
to that,
no.
because you don't think you're going to get old, and you don't think you're going to have any
Right.
problems.
And somebody's telling you that and say, Mom, Jill's looking at me, or
That's
Jill
right.
slapped me, or
Stop breathing.
please.
Yeah.
And, after you poured your heart out like that, he touched me.
That's
Okay, it's
exactly
not
right.
going to work.
But I think that's a great question. I think it's an interesting question.
Yeah, but it is, once again, it's just like you say, and that's what I was thinking, the fact that Mark would listen. Now, if I personally could go back and I could recognize myself as the child, recognize it, first of all, I'd say, oh my gosh, I hope I die before I get that older. But
That's right. As a child, and
exactly.
you looked at you'd creep
Holy
out.
cow, what? You're not the quarterback of the Baltimore. Anyway, looked at that, then maybe I would listen a little. But once again, any little thing changed it. There are so many people out there that if they could go back, it would be wonderful if they could do one thing to change. And I'm getting down in the, if you're in a horrible relationship or whatever's happened to your mom, dad, or whatever, I know if you could go back and change, that would be great if you could listen to some advice. But that's the thing. I am so blessed. I always was when I was at school. Mom was home. I
right.
had perfect attendance the whole time. But the thought that, hey, if
Oh, you
anything
did?
happened, Mom, I could call Mom. And, yeah, people made fun of me because of perfect attendance. Like, oh, he's always there. He must love school. Well, no, I just never got sick enough. Sheesh.
Yeah,
But
it's always
anyway.
better at school. We had I enjoyed school while I was there, but when I'd go to the summer vacation and
Mm-hmm.
come back, I couldn't remember people's names or who they were. I didn't. It's like
Think
I'm
of
not
a
paying
teacher.
attention. Yeah, I couldn't. I was like 3 months, just wipe my brain clean.
Oh, man. Yeah, really.
I did not
Sheesh.
want to. I didn't even want to think about that stuff.
First day of school, waiting at the bus stop was the scariest time, just knots in my stomach. And when I became a teacher, what I never thought of back then, the teachers are having the same problem. They've got knots in their stomach, and they're saying, oh, my gosh, what am I
Right.
going to do? It's notice other people. One thing I was blessed with, something else, I never wanted to be a teacher when I was young. And when I was in college, I didn't want to be a teacher. But there was something in me that when I was in school, I always evaluated teachers. And I would look and I'd say, wow, he shouldn't have done that. He should have done, this would have been better. And I realized that kids forget their homework, kids forget their books, kids cut up sometimes. And I remember that to where when I was a teacher, I think it helped me somewhat. But nobody told me, hey, watch this teacher. But I think it was divine intervention. God said, Mark, you're going to be a teacher. I said, no! But my
you mean-
path
wait.
led me there.
Are you telling me then that as a teacher you would accept the excuses that the kids would give you why they didn't have the homework?
Oh, no. But I had teachers that actually would look at you like you are such a sap. Or that was
Right.
my sense. You forgot your book. What am I going to do? But no, there was a punishment or there was something you had to do as a result.
But did you find yourself over the years of teaching becoming jaded and becoming that crotchety old
No,
guy that
no.
you had as a teacher and went like, I'll never be that way?
I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that I was, just a great teacher. I was what I was, but I really think I retired at the top of my game. I think I was as good as I was ever going to be, and that's a good time to retire. There are those, and I knew them and loved them dearly, teachers that I think they just got in the business to be mean, so they could be mean to kids and all. And they
Probably.
dragged through life, not, I had bad times too, but when I left, it was, kids were great, and that's the memories I have.
Oh, you're so blessed,
Blessed. I was
because
blessed, yeah.
I listened to Sabrina, Chad, and those, now Christy's getting ready to go into, that's what she wants to be as a teacher, and she's so scared now because of what she hears. So that's
Yeah.
scary. That is
Well, and I can definitely understand that. And they have gotten so much more technical, specific things you have to do, and it's
But we
scary.
love the teachers, and we appreciate the teachers, and everybody should be kind to a teacher. You're listening to the Mark and Cindy Show, and we're going to another break. Boy, is it going by fast.
It's going fast, okay.
And I've got to talk about the article that Mark wrote on Sunday, and I'm gonna call him out. I'm calling Mark out on this
I'm just
one.
shocked you read it.
You're listening
Cindy.
to Lone Star
In fact,
Internet
I don't
Radio.
believe you. Okay.
We'll be right back.
All right.
And you did well that day you came.
Lone Star Internet Radio is now bringing you the weekly business hour show each Monday morning at 11 a.m. My name is Rick Schisler, and I will be your host. Each week we will be bringing you local, area, and national business news that you can use. The program will also feature an interview with a local or national business person who will share their own experiences, successes, and failures in operating their businesses. Our show is for anyone who already owns a business, whether they work solo or have employees, and for those who are thinking about starting their own businesses. A bit of information about myself. Again, my name is Rick Schisler, and I am a Silver Fox advisor who has over 40 years' experience as a serial entrepreneur. As a part of our show, I will offer some advice and encouragement on our monthly topic, and I will take your questions by email at rschisler@silverfox.org or called into the station at 936-647-3776. See you on the radio Monday at 11 a.m. for the weekly business hour.
The Conroe YMCA's benchmark adaptive programming for kids and adults is Leap of Faith. Leap of Faith is an equine assisted therapy program serving children and adults with adaptive needs. The riders in our Leap of Faith program are working to address and manage specific aspects of their lives impacted by illness, injury, or disability. The Leap of Faith program has experience working with riders who are living with attention deficit or other hyperactivity disorders, hearing impairments, visual impairments, developmental delays or disabilities, autism, Down syndrome, multiple sclerosis, muscular dystrophy, head traumas, brain injuries, and paralysis. Our program uses horseback riding to develop self-confidence and self-esteem, to increase upper and lower body strength, assist in respiratory issues, and establish a trusting relationship between the rider and their horse. Not only do these activities aid in the physical and mental development of the rider, but they also foster self-reliance and independence. For more information regarding our program, to become a rider, or to volunteer with a great group of people, please call our Welcome Center at 936-441-9622 or visit our website at www.ymcahouston.org/Conroe.
And summer breeze was blowing against your face. All right. The light of gold was shining on your countenance divine. Yeah, you were all by the color.
Like to have to write the lyrics to what Van Morrison is saying. Love the sun, gonna know what you
mean transcribe them? Like
yeah,
transcribe
whatever. Cindy, let me hit a couple
listening-
of news stories.
Okay, but
Oh,
I just
we
wanted to
are-
remind people that they were listening to the Mark and Cindy show.
Not the mixed wrestling.
No,
the real
Mark and Cindy show.
You know what
show.
I imagine Van Morrison being? He's the interpreter for poets.
Whoa.
You give him a poem you've written, and then he'll take it to the next level.
Yeah, that's it. That's going to take some dwelling on my part.
Yes.
By the way, speaking
I
of
like
news,
him.
I had a teaser at the start. No, that's a taser, not a teaser, but I had a teaser that I mentioned somebody getting shot for texting in a theater. It happened in Florida.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to talk about that, too.
Yeah, this guy was texting during the previews of Lone Survivor.
Yeah.
And this retired police officer,
70
they got
years
in an
old.
argument. Somebody threw popcorn to where, Cindy, if I throw popcorn at you
What's
in a
in the
theater,
popcorn?
I am pretty serious because I covet the
Yeah,
popcorn.
I wouldn't
But
waste it on
anyway, ended up shooting him and wounding his date or wife or whatever.
His
and
wife,
killed
his wife
the guy.
put her hand out to try and protect her husband, and she was wounded, but the husband did die from the
The good news
shotgun.
is he
I mean,
was
shotgun.
licensed to carry that gun, so that's good. I think
Right.
I think it was a good kill.
Yeah.
And that sounds really bad. And
That's so bad,
the
Mark.
humor is
So
over the
bad.
top on that one. I'm sorry.
No, it's just that
Now that we get to look at you, we understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Reeves, Mr. Reeves wish
I
he'd had
have
it.
gotten angry at people in the theater before to where, had I been packing heat,
See?
I would have fired in the air, man.
You know, I told you about the story the other week about that little kid that's
little kid.
boxing in my chair and
Shot the
pulling my
2-year-old.
hair.
I can see you sitting there, and these people get shot, and then you just turn around, and be like, hey, I'm trying to watch a movie.
Trying to what? I told him.
Take it outside.
Did y'all hear
His
me tell
texting
him?
wasn't as loud as your shooting. Would you just sit down? No, that was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to look at it and you go like, that's a little overkill. But
But it was during the Lone Survivor trailer, so maybe he was trying to add the realism.
no,
to
it wasn't
right?
it wasn't the Lone Survivor's trailer. It was the trailers getting ready to show the Lone Survivor.
Right.
And people keep they're not getting these accounts right because they're saying it was while they were watching the Lone Survivor, and that's
why people are
wrong.
saying
Can somebody really
justifiable
stretch that though? It's like, oh,
Well, they want to use it. The violence in the movie is the reason why he pulled the gun out and shot the guy. And it's
Maybe the fact that he was a retired police officer dealing with violence his entire life.
yes,
That could be it too.
and
Yeah.
Rude people that don't obey him when he
And
says do something.
It happened in Florida. By the way, I saw the start of this show. My DVR tapes everything that's on ABC, CBS, NBC stuff, and one of them is Good-Looking Girl Detectives. I don't know the name of it, but Model Squad or something. And I was watching the start of it before I deleted it, and I did. And this lady goes into a church during a wedding, and she's really dressed great. And she goes ahead and shoots the groom and then runs out in high heels and jumps in a car. And when she does, about a dozen guys come out of the church and start shooting at her because it was in Texas. It's the Texas Mall, and they all had guns, and they were just shooting in the train. Anyway, that sent a message.
well, that
to
wouldn't
somebody.
happen again then.
No.
I think that would never happen
yeah,
again.
the person would
So
definitely-
you have to be careful. And when preachers will get, somebody will come in and
Ooh,
and,
man. I think of that a lot.
Yeah, when I was stand-up interpreting on the stage with a preacher, and watching people is so much fun when you stand up in front of big, crowds, and you watch the people and see who's, who might be potentially weird enough to do it. But what's good is that a lot of people sleep through those.
That's true.
He
That's
kind of
true.
calms everybody down with
Yeah.
his message, so.
You're profiling, and you have to. If I'm talking public speaking or something, I always look and I try to talk to that one guy because he is not paying attention, and I hate him. And anyway, that's I can see that.
Yes.
But do you I think when the sermon is dull and I'm sitting there, I say, okay, pretend a guy comes up, he's got a gun. Mark, what are you going to do? And I live through these things. Of course, I do stuff like that when I go get the mail or the newspaper. Okay, there's a guy I had in mind with a gun. What do I do?
I mean, that's what a police officer does every day.
They have
Every day.
to.
You have
Dick,
to set
they
up all
have
those
to do that.
scenarios so that you know how to respond and how to react.
And-
but that's probably, they hadn't thought of that in church,
Yeah.
to keep yourself awake in church.
And-
But it's okay, because you know what? Even if you go to sleep, it doesn't matter. When I would go and do talks, I would tell people, if you would like to close your eyes and go to sleep, go ahead. Because actually, I'd like to talk to your subconscious now.
Whoa.
So just go ahead and sleep, and let me program what I'd like
Yeah.
for you to act like when you leave here.
That's
And
what
it
I told my
usually worked.
mom. That's why I sleep in church.
Is
It message hits me deeper.
That's right. No, it's true. It's true. It's that
You know,
sleep learning.
This is the squirrel moment. I was thinking, and I just think I'll say it on the air. I did the Adam and Eve thing. They played it. I haven't seen it, but we should get together and do a whole series of Samson, Delilah, and Moses and his wife. Nobody talks about Moses, but we could come up with all kinds of skits like that. It'd
That would be
interesting.
great.
It would
Yeah.
be. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's just one of those things. And that was one news story. I would like to apologize. That was my squirrel moment.
Yes.
I'd like to apologize to the family of the guy that actually got shot in Florida. That was not funny.
No, that was
at all.
not-
And I made too much humor about that.
No, that was not funny at all. And so we will, we'll pray for them for sure. For sure.
I think Jay Leno will probably not.
I'm going to see how they deal with it. Tonight we need to see how they deal with it. If they're
Oh, they'll
gonna be-
joke about. Well, I did too. Forget it. The other news story I wanted to mention: Hubble and Hudson across from Tinseltown. We've been talking about
Yes.
movies closed down.
Wait, no.
They've
No,
got
no,
another
no.
one on Research Forest in
The
Gosling.
walnut, the
yeah.
black walnut. The
No, Hubble and Hudson.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have. I don't
They
know if
own
it's
the
about-
black.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay, the black walnut is probably solvent. But this Hubble and Hudson never made, there are 80 people working there, and they just never really made it. And I think it's because of the overhead. Can you imagine that location down there near, not Market Street, but during the water, in the
Well, they
waterway
got
area?
the most expensive
You do. They have to.
culinary
Yeah.
stuff in there. But are you sure? You're absolutely sure?
Well, I read it in the paper, in the newspaper.
Well, you know, which
not
one?
That one,
The
but-
Courier? Okay.
Yeah, the Courier.
Because Sam and I, you weren't here when I told everybody that
Hubble and Hudson marker closing. Market closing?
market closing.
I'm sure everyone can see that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's well, you know.
Anyway,
You weren't here when I told everybody that Sam took me. You maybe were listening to the show. That Sam took me on a romantic weekend.
oh yeah.
A weekend.
Roller
ago,
derby,
2 weekends ago, yeah.
if I recall.
No, and we walked through that store. I wanted to show him the store.
Unusual?
So yes, it is. It's great. He goes, I would never shop here. This is so.
Really?
This is weird. This is like being in New York or something. So I said, I know that's what people are trying that's what they want. But I hate to hear that.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you're a store, a Ritzy store that can't make it in the Woodlands, you are not going
Yeah.
to make it.
Yeah.
But that overhead, once again, I don't know how those people pay for the rent.
On
and
that
all of
second
this.
level, they had cooking schools.
Yeah.
That's what they were doing
good.
as well. But anyway, before you get to anything else, I wanted to call you out, which I had teased with before we went to break. On your article, Mark Hader is renowned columnist for the Conroe Courier, and every Sunday in the trends in the Conroe Courier, he has an article front page. There's his face. Wow, so if we all know what you look like.
But he never mentions the Mark and Cindy show.
No,
I think he tries and
I
they cut
try
it
and
out.
they cut it out. They don't want. I'm just a reporter for the Couriers.
Apparently, they've listened to the show or something. Okay, so, but his article this past Sunday, if you missed it, I want to talk about it. It says, "Giving the Slots a Shot." So you were talking about, you kind of went through your background that you never were allowed to gamble.
No.
And both of us came from the same background.
Yeah.
You didn't gamble.
I didn't
That
even
was gonna
square
s-
dance, Cindy.
I didn't
Oh, it was
square
just
dance,
terrible.
round dance, anything, any kind of dance. We weren't allowed to go to dances, and we didn't do that. But I could dance. I learned all the dances just so
You
that I
got the
knew that I
moves.
had them.
Yeah.
And whether I couldn't, I thought I'd never use them. But anyway, so Mark and I were brought up same way, where this would send you straight to hell if you gambled, drank coffee, I mean, there's so many things that we couldn't do. And so he was, your friends took you to Arkansas,
No.
Coushatta?
No. And Cindy doesn't normally read my articles, and I can understand that. People would come up to me, and my ego just goes down the flusher. And they say, here you write an article over the Courier and the Villager, and I don't get those papers. I don't read it. And I want to say,
don't.
hey, I've got a web page, and they're all there. But then I cannot take I don't want to take time to do that, because it's another slap in the face. So, what happened is we had some friends in Arkansas, and they said they go to Louisiana.
Oh, Coushatta in Louisiana,
Yeah, it's near Kinder, Louisiana, which is
Right.
near nothing.
Nothing.
But rice fields. And so they go there, and they say, they were talking about, our room, they give us our room free, the food is very cheap, they give you discounts and all of this. And, we don't gamble, Kay and I, but I said, a really plush room that doesn't cost much, food that's really cheap, that's really good, let's go.
Yes.
And Cindy, they do that, but they only do it to people who have established that they're gamblers, because they give you a card, and you put it. They actually gave us $5 a piece to start our gambling, slot machines, poker, whatever you want to do. I mean,
To entice you in.
yeah. And
Yes.
that card records everything, all the money you lost in there,
wow.
and whatever you gained. But it's, let's face it, mostly lost. And we were just going to play the penny slots. Well, when starting out, we have no credentials. We haven't ever gambled there before, so no, nothing's free. Your room, you're paying full price. Yeah, this buffet, I paid $23 for a buffet, 46 with K plus, and I put in a tip. But I wanted to say this about it: it was the best buffet I have
Was it really? It
ever
was good?
had in my life.
Oh.
And I was saying, Mark, you got to wait for dessert. Got to wait for dessert, because I saw all these desserts there.
Oh, I know.
And I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I chowed down on everything that was so good. $23. It was worth it for once every 3 months. I could do that. But anyway, the bottom line is, this girl, Sharon, had my card. I had $5 free from the motel, from the casino motel. And she stuck it in. It's a penny slot.
Right.
And she said, Mark, I want to show you exactly how this works. And because, Cindy, they've got all kinds of icons all over, and I don't
Just
know what it's doing.
distracting
And
and not knowing
you
what
don't
to
pull
do.
the handle now. You said, look.
You should have
it's penny
practiced at
slots.
Incredible Pizza first and then gone to
Isn't that...
That would have been a good way
And
to practice.
I'm not making this up. She took my card out, and she hit 2 buttons. She went, penny slot. Whoa, and it came up, lost. $5. I lost every cent.
In that one?
One thing on a penny slot. And she said, oh my gosh.
Mark, they saw you coming.
I hit the 10 cents and the 50 rows, and you didn't match anything. I said, Mark, you need to do better. I mean, she was really running me down for being so stupid, and I'm sitting there. Anyway, I lost that $5.
Did you do more?
I lost another $5. She said, put another $5 in. I said, put it. Okay, and I did.
Peer pressure.
Yeah.
Peer
but
pressure.
it was not a fun thing.
You
But
should do cards.
cards.
We weren't allowed to play cards.
Poker. They had
Did
a
you play
special
cards?
place for that.
At least they're not just like pushing a button and then you lose
That's
money.
true.
At least
That-
you're like, oh, I lost because I didn't have the right card.
That's true.
And had I won, I didn't know why. I mean, they just had, I couldn't see all of these slots and rows. But you can play poker, but they have a minimum, $100, whatever. They have $5, $1, whatever. But no, and I don't have enough brains for that, for the poker. All I can do is push a
I think
button.
you were like a lamb led to slaughter on that. So I think you're okay. I think we're being told we're getting ready to go to a break.
And Morrison, ladies and gentlemen. When we
Here
come
he
back, we'll
comes.
have an encouraging word and whatever else.
You're
and a
listening
plug
to-
for Peggy Miller, who's coming tomorrow.
That's right. You're listening to Mark Hader, Cindy Cochran on the Mark and Cindy Show. We will be right back. Don't go away.
And you went into a trance. Your childlike vision became so fine.
Hello, I'm Bonita DeRosa, Animal Control Officer for the City of Willis. We invite you to tune in to Lone Star Internet Radio every first and third Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. for the Willis Hour. On the first Thursday of the month, the Willis Hour will be covering upcoming events and news about the city. Join in the conversation with your city officials and other leaders in the community. On the 3rd, we will be doing a recap of the last City Council meeting. The mission of the City of Willis is to provide high-quality services, accountability, and professional commitment to our citizens. We pledge to provide those who live, work, and visit our city an effective government that is open and responsive to the needs and values of the community. Again, we invite you to tune in on Lone Star Internet Radio every first and third Thursday of the month at 11 for the Willis Hour.
Hello, this is Dennis Nelson, inviting you to come with me through the doorway of imagination and into the theater of the mind. The Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour presents a play every Saturday night at 7 p.m. on Lone Star Internet Radio. Be it drama or comedy, thriller or love story, every exciting episode is carefully chosen straight from the golden age of radio and performed live by talented actors, musicians, and sound effects crew. Every sound you hear will be 100% live and homemade. Anything can happen. So join us, please, every Saturday night at 7 p.m. for the Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour, right here on Lone Star Internet Radio.
And we feel the presence of the Christ within our hearts. In the garden.
Did he say in the garden? In the
Genius. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what the other words
don't
were,
know
but
what-
in the garden, in the
We could all,
garden.
yeah, everybody could sing along with him. You're listening to the Mark and Cindy Show on Lone Star Internet Radio, and we do have archives. So if you missed the first part of the show, you can go to YouTube and search the Mark and Cindy Show, and there we are in all
It's
our
scary.
glory.
By the way, Cindy, while we were off during those things, and I was listening to a lot of the commercials in the public service, whatever.
Yes.
You mentioned you were in Vegas once in a cab driver. And I
Well-
wanted to hear the rest of the story,
well,
but we didn't get a chance.
Being brought up the same way, you were very conservative, not allowed to gamble or anything like that. But I had to go to Vegas a lot of times for business and for conventions and things. And so I told my mom and dad, you've got to go there because of the shows they have, and it's so different than what you think it's going to be. My sister and I finally talked them into going. So we got them there. They're very apprehensive. We get in the cab, and we're going to the hotel, and we asked the cab driver, now, where would you take some people what would you suggest? They don't gamble, they do not drink, they don't want to see anything, really raunchy or bad. Where would we go? And he said, back to the airport. And so and he was really almost
What
right.
are you doing?
Yeah, trying to find a show that I could take my dad and mom to.
Yeah.
And we finally thought we found a show that was just like and it says family show. So we go to it, and these guys have on the pants they have on, there's no back on them. And you don't know that until they're all coming, they're marching up, they're dancing, and then they turn back, and my dad and my mom were sitting at another table. My sister and I are just dying at this other table, going like, oh, I can't even look at him. So we got out, and I said, so Dad, what'd you think of the show? And he says, I think I just got mooned 300 times. That's about he said, this is ridiculous. And look at all these old women here. They're just gambling away the money that their poor husband left them. And so that was his whole take on it. But it was an experience. Anyway, I know it's time that we need to have an encouraging word, and boy, do we need encouraging.
And that was one of those things that's supposed to stay in Las Vegas, but we aired it here. And I had another story I was going to say that's grosser than that. Because it's an encouraging word.
Okay.
I was reading this morning, speaking of an encouraging word, and I don't know, I have probably mentioned this a half dozen times before, but it hit me again. I was thinking about bad stuff. I do that a lot, disappointments and what's happening here. And I was thinking of other people because I watch the news and people are in a horrible shape, many of them, and it can't be helped by me. I don't know what to do. You can pray for them, and my thought is, well, this is the least I can do. Well, it should be a very powerful thing. If I could do something physically, I should definitely do that. And I don't do that enough either locally. But in this case, I was thinking of Paul because I was reading this deal in Philippians, and it's so weird. Philippians is uplifting. I mentioned it, I believe, last week about rejoice in the Lord always, and whatever is, pure, noble, holy, all of these things. Think on these. Holy was not one of them, but think on a good report, whatever. Think on these. And he also wrote this. And he said, it could be in verse 11, I could be tremendously wrong and probably am. He said, whatever, verse 4 in Philippians, chapter 4 in Philippians, he said, I have learned that in whatever state I'm in to be content.
Yes, I love that verse.
By state,
that's good.
Once again, he didn't mean Oklahoma, New Jersey. He meant whatever condition I'm in to be content. And, I've told you before, Cindy, if I get a flat tire, I'm not content. It takes not much to bring me down. And Paul was saying, and when I think of Paul saying, whatever condition I'm in, I'll be content. And I think, well, yeah, but the guy's been beat. He was in prison when he wrote this.
Right.
And chained up, they say, jailers next to him and all of this stuff. Anyway, beat, stoned, all of this stuff. And he said, I've learned in whatever state I'm in to be content. And my thought was, I can never do that. And then I read somebody else explaining this, and he didn't say, you should do this or whatever. He said, I have learned. Mm-hmm. How do you learn in whatever state to be content unless you've been in that state, unless you have been in that condition, be it poverty, be it a father that beats you or whatever situation there is, unless you've been there? Paul's saying, I can be content, and he goes on to mention through Christ Jesus. Here is our Savior, those who believe in him and accept him, who knows he's going to the cross, and they are beating him, spitting on him, and taunting him. They hit him and he can't see anything. He's got blood on him and all of this, and they say, okay, tell us who hit you right now. You know everything. You can do miracles. Who hit you? And he could have said, I'll tell you who hit you, and who hit me, and told the whole biography, and then struck him with fire. He didn't do that.
No.
He let him humiliate him and do all of this. Was he content? No. But he knew where he was going and what he was doing, and that was worth it. I don't think God enjoys... We're his children. He's the best father there are, and there is. And I don't think he enjoys when bad stuff is happening to us.
Of course not, no.
I think there's a reason, a purpose for these things, but he's promised us, I'm going to work it for good. He's the best father. He wants nothing but the best. And if I can focus, instead of, this horrible thing that's happening to me, focused on Christ, he's promised me that he'll be with me always, and that he wants the best for me.
That's
God,
right.
this isn't the best. It's leading there, Mark. It's going there. If I can keep that in mind, and if we can keep that in mind when bad things are happening, I've been so sheltered. I'm not suffering anything right now except, I don't even want to talk about it. But other stuff, health-wise, I'm in great shape. But if I can focus on what I've got to look forward to. If I was going on a cruise next week, Cindy, I'd be so happy and elated. I'm not, but I've got something better to look forward to.
Sure, of course.
I'm not acting like
My mom would never allow us to be miserable or upset because she always talked about what it could be and how much worse it could be. I mean, I try to go like, Mom, my eczema.
It could be raining.
Listen, you could have this and you could have that. And I just asked her one night, you just let me be miserable just for a little bit, and she wouldn't do it. And so that stuck with me forever because it's true. It's whatever state that you're in, it could be worse. If you think this is bad, think about all the other people that you think this is bad, and you've heard those stories. Oh, that's nothing. I'll tell you what's bad. So it is. So true. It's got to be thinking about how blessed you are right this moment.
Speaking of blessed, we are going to be so blessed tomorrow with Peggy Miller. She is writer, reporter on all entertainment events. Got 2 articles weekly coming out in the Courier. I think the Villager also. Anyway, she writes reviews on many things, and she is just got a history of greatness, this lady does, and she's going to be here tomorrow. You never hear her talk because she's a writer, but we get to hear this writer speak tomorrow, and I am very excited about it.
Cannot wait. Everybody, this is a gorgeous day. It's your day. Right, Mark? It's your day.
It is your day.
Make it your day, and you're going to have a good time today. Enjoy it, and the best thing to understand and realize is that God's got this.
Well, it's Mark and Cindy, they've got a morning show. Every day I listen in. We're gonna talk about what's going on in town.
Your name is first.
Hey, we're just joking here, folks. She's just joking. The only time we got in trouble with the authorities was in that episode we aired Monday. Or was it the Wednesday one?
No, the Wednesday one was where Yo-Yo Man was our guest. Fell off his stool and fractured his viola.
Cello. He's a cellist.
Oh, well, I know that. But it was his viola he fractured. You know, the bone that makes you sit up straight?
Say goodbye, Cindy.
Goodbye, Cindy.
And thanks for tuning in to the Mark and Cindy Show. Remember, we air live Monday through Thursday from 10 to 11 in the morning, and Friday is the best of. Thanks again. This is Mark Hader with Cindy Cochran signing off.
Hey everyone, this is Tina, your host from Retro Saturdays. I wanted to invite you to visit the Lone Star Studios here in downtown Conroe, Texas. We're all volunteers here, and we need your help in serving the Montgomery County area. Radio media is a fun field to be in. Lone Star Internet Radio serves Montgomery County with news, current events, local programming, and of course, music. If you are interested in volunteering and sharing your talents in media, go to irlonestar.com and let us hear from you. Lone Star Internet Radio, serving Montgomery County from the heart of downtown Conroe.